Alright guys, welcome back to Forklift TV here at Castle Haldor. I'm bringing you today the Great Weapon Fighter build. High DPS, high crit, high severity. For those of you who watch me usually, this is going to be a comprehensive video to show you everything put together, all the updates that are done at this point for Xbox One. I do not have the update that just dropped on PC, but I will get you the best information up to the Guild Alliance updates. Now, here is the build. I'm going to show you the stats to start with. And when you're rolling your Great Weapon Fighter, I'll tell you what race a little bit later. I use Dragonborn. Half work is very good. Now, you want to roll it. Basically, you have your purple, you have your blue, you have your blue, okay? You have your mains and your secondaries, then you have your offs, okay? The gray ones at the bottom. The way I do it is I roll a 10-10-10, 10-10-8, and those will give you the highest in your strength and dexterity. Those are what you're trying to get the highest. So I try to roll the lowest ones to get them as low as you can, which is 10-10-10, 10-10-8. Get your strength as high as you can. Also put your secondary attributes. You want strength and dex. So if you're human, pick strength. If you're a half orc, strength, dex. You know, same thing with Dragonborn. But anything you really want to pick is okay. In the end, I'll get into that a little bit later. So into the armor, you're going to be going for the dust grade set. Also, you're going to be using the Drocraft. So what it is you use the dust grade. You get it from the trade bar vendor, which you get from having VIP. Or buying enchanted keys, which you don't need to spend money on. You can spend astral diamonds on it. I'll teach you how in another one of my videos. But the dust armor is going to give you good benefits. You get regeneration. In general, you get when in a party, you get extra stats. You know, and then you get 4,000 increased movement within guild. Now, I have 2 Drocraft because you give you 10% damage resistance, and then they give you, you know, a secondary stat when you're in a Demogorgon. So basically, when I'm not in the guild, I don't need the 3 bonuses from the dust grade. So I might use 2 pieces of Drocraft if it gives me better stats. Now, as my armor enchantment, I use the negation at this point. I use Soulforge for a long time, and yes, it does pick you right back up. And negation stacks defense, and it toughens you up a lot. Now, I also stack my lifesteal in my defensive slots because of the negation, which helps me heal myself a lot faster. Now, I'm using the Drocraft arms right now. I do use those in general. I can switch the helmet back and forth. Now, what you want to do is you want to get the Twisted set. If you don't have the Twisted set, you can't run Demogorgon, get one of the elemental sets. I recommend the Drowned set from the Drowned Shores, and I have another video teaching you how to run that if you need to. But any of the artifacts set, when you can run the Twisted, this is what you need to get, because it is a huge power bonus and defense when you're getting hit. You get 12 stacks of Paranoia, 12 stacks of Bloodlust. Every time you attack, it stacks a Paranoia and unstacks a Bloodlust. You have 24 stacks of both total. So if you're attacking, you get 24 stacks Bloodlust and no Paranoia. This does a huge bonus to your power, and then when you start getting attacked, you start taking defense. Your power goes down, so it works very well, and I'll show it in action here in a minute and show you the benefits and how fast it raises. The Vorpal, obviously, the greater Vorpal and up. I only have the Vorpal right now. I'm actually going to start working towards getting the next one maybe during double refinement coming up. But it ups your crit severity bonus. So even if you can only get the regular Vorpal, even if you can only get the lesser, it's good. The greater Plaguefire, or just the Plaguefire, is pretty good while you're leveling up, because if your crit is not very high, then your critical chance, and you're not going to get to use your crit severity very often, but the Plaguefire will give you damage buff all the time. Once you get to a higher level and you get your crit severity up to, mine gets up to like 80% when I'm attacking. It sits roughly at like 50. Anyway, well, when you get it up there, it definitely gives you a better one. Now, I'm using the Lost Mouth Horde necklace set, the artifact set. Basically, there is a better set out. It's the demo set. Now, the Demogorgon, the Girdle of Might, I can show you. I have the necklace. Now, it's just very expensive, so you need 3 pieces to the set. And this one, every time I hit for a critical strike, it also does an extra attack with, you know, equal to my weapon damage. So it's good. They have good stats. It's the best one prior to the demo set coming out. Now this one will cost you, including the Belt of Puissance, the Lost Mouth Horde necklace, and the Lost Mouth Horn of Blasting, will cost you roughly 550,000. The chunk of that, 500,000 for the Horn of Blasting. Now the demo set, which does a different set bonus, and it is much more powerful. It runs its artifacts instead of being 500,000, it's more like 5 million. So that's the whole thing there. If you have the opportunity to go for it, I would. But if you don't, this is what's going to be cheapest for you, and you can get the necklace and waist for very inexpensive, 40, 50,000 at the right time, and then you can work for having the rest of it. Now these rings that I'm showing you are out of the Prophecy of Madness, the Ring of Rising Precision. I'll show this thing in action. It gives you a stack of 100 crit, 105 crit. Now the Ring of Brutality, those sudden rings, those are I'll get into those in a second, because these ones you actually have to craft. These pants and shirts you have to craft. Now you can also get yourself the Drocraft set out of Mental Dareth. That's also where the Drocraft armor comes from. You get Ichor, Demonic Ichor, for running the Prophecy Madness, also where you get the Rising Precision ring. Now I'm using the Devoted Cleric, the Sigil is Devoted. It's from the Devoted Clerics. Every time you get a alternate to level 60, you can get their artifact for everybody. So I use this one. It basically gives me another daily attack. So I can use my daily, pop my artifact, and within 15 seconds I have my daily again. Now these other artifacts that are in your 4 slots, I will teach you guys how to get all 4 before you hit level 70. The rest are there for the stats. Every artifact you have on your Great Weapon Fighter or your character in general, you get those stats all the time, but you only get to use the one that's at the top of the pyramid. The bottom 3 are purely for their set bonuses, for your utility set, the Horn of Blasting, and the rest are just for their power armor pen combat advantage. Those are why those are so good for me and you if you're a Great Weapon Fighter. Now the Ring of Brutality, you get that out of the Demogorgon, and it gives you 4,000 crit for 8 seconds every 30 seconds on attack. So that one's extremely good. Offense, defensive slot. The Orange Ring Piercing gives you 2 offensive slots. Very good. Those I'm showing you there are your clothes, your alternate clothes. You can switch back and forth just by pressing X. So it's nice to just be able to switch at the push of a button. Now here are my stats prior to attacking. So this is what they sit at normally. As you can read them all, you know, I got 50% crit, roughly 94% crit severity. You know, good stats, but they're much better than that. See, now what I'm going to show you here is also how to check your stats. Now that we're using a companion with a bonded runestone now, so I'm going to get into that later in the video. But it doesn't show you your stats. You get the stats on attacking while your companion is attacking. So right now I'm going to show you the rotation when you use left trigger Weapon Master Strike. I'm going to get in the powers here soon, and we mark them with our shout. Throw our daggers to give us our damage buff. Now we keep Weapon Master Strike until we can get unstoppable. We go unstoppable. That's our goal as a Great Weapon Fighter, is to stay unstoppable as much as possible. That big slam was Indomitable Battle Strike. Now that's my daily. That's slam. I will show you that also. It lets you continue attacking while drawing threat, while giving you buffs, and it's just very good. Now if you push your Xbox button, it'll pull you out to the main menu. You can then go back into the game without pushing anything, push start, and you can go into your stats and you continue attacking. Now I'm going to show you here, the Ring of Brutality is about to proc. It's going to give me 4,000 more for 8 seconds. See, there it goes. So my power actually when attacking with my Bonded Runestone Companion gets up to 30,000, critical 15, armor pen gets up above 60%, because we want resistance ignored to be about 60%, because that's the most you can do against dungeon bosses. Other than that, my crit severity, I also use potions when I'm in heavy dungeons. Now my critical chance is jumping all the way up to 81%, like you've seen there. So these things, it's a good way, a good little trick. Now if you're on PlayStation 4 or PC, you know, I don't know right now. I'm working on getting into those platforms just so I can help everybody out equally. But as for right now, with doing the videos and helping everybody out, I barely get time to run the dungeons right now. So you know, it's just a little too much right now, but I am helping everybody as much as I can. Now, every time I go into a dungeon, I go into my potion pack. I hit a critical potion or a power potion. These are some little things. I just flipped a coin, tomorrow's lucky coin. It gives you a random bonus of 400, basically, a little under. I also have the pocket pet, which you can get right now in the event that's going on pretty easily by running the skirmishes they have. Now, in your stats, and you can see right there. Now, in your stat bar, you can see right here, you can see the little lion, the bloodlust, power increase. Now, I have full stacks because it shows no stacks paranoia. Now, once I take damage, paranoia will start stacking and another little buff will show up. Now, it kind of sucks because at the bottom it says and more. It doesn't show you all your buffs, so it makes it a little more difficult. As you see, campfires right there. If you're new to the game, if you go through a campfire, it gives you +1 to your stats. See, usually I sit at 28 strength, but as long as you run through a campfire catch this right here, all of your upgrades go to strength and dex. How it is. Now, right here, you can pick your title. Like I said, I don't know how new people are to the game. I kind of just want to cover everything in one video. I have a few other ones out, and just as updates come out, as my build grows, I just want to keep everybody up to date so nobody's making large purchases without seeing my latest updated build. So I just got this one, the blue. It's out of the also the event going on right now. It's like a Code Red Mountain Dew. I don't know, it's a play on that kind of. So here are the powers we're going to get into. So your sure strike you're going to have from the get-go. It's an at will, so you put that on your right trigger. It's going to be your main attack. It's going to be what you use for single target attacks, and it's going to be what you're using for just your main attack once you're unstoppable. Now, spinning strikes I use for a long time. I recommend them up until you get slammed. Destroyer is a big one. That's a personal. That one just always goes at the same time. It ends up stacking up to about 42% damage increase, because every time you hit more than 3 targets, you get a damage increase. You get per stack. You get stacks up to 3 times. Comes out to 42% once you have full 4 upgrades. Now, that's a huge bonus. We got to use that. So that one stays in either build that you use. Now, there's one variation, very small, where you change out a different one. I don't like that one. Now, here's Slam. This is what I changed to. Kind of after I got into YouTube, some people started, you know, giving me crap about using spinning strikes. Started using Slam, and you know what? They were right. It's pretty good. I do like it. I get to keep attacking while I'm drawing threat. And you know, he's somewhere in my comments. The guy was kind of a d-bag, so if he wants credit, you can go check out on my first Great Weapon Fighter comments. I don't remember his name. So Slam's what we're going to go with there. Now, Weapon Master Strike's our second class feature, our second personal that we're going to use, and it gives us critical chance. It stacks up, you know, to 3 times, 4 times, something like that. And also with your artifact weapons, you need to do Sure Strike for your weapon. There's a few different ones. There's Weapon Master Strike. I use Sure Strike. It's much better when I'm fighting bosses, because it's your job. It's your job to melt those bosses when you're in dungeons. So I want my single target attacks to be very good. Now, I stack Weapon Master. I think it's Wrathful Determination that some other builds use. I choose Weapon Master still, even after the update. Combat Advantage. Now you can roll this by using cubes of augmentation, and you can get different ones. I chose Combat Advantage. You got to keep getting random rolls until you get the one you want, and then you have to randomly roll for your stat. 400 is the highest you can get. I'm at 388. That's been a lot of cubes to get there and do that, so it was worth it to get, you know, very high combat advantage. That's when someone's attacking from the other side, be it someone else or a companion. You see a little sword next to the damage icons, the damage numbers, and that means that you're getting stronger attacks because you have a combat advantage. Now, Daring Shout right here, this is what marks your enemies. Now, in your feats, you're going to do increased damage to marked enemies. So it gives you damage resistance based on the target that you mark. So you always do want to mark the highest target, the biggest target in the room, not just for the fact that it does more damage to them, but for the fact that it gives you a better shield or damage resistance. Now, Weapon Master Strike, that's what we use to build our Unstoppable a lot faster. You strike, you know, a wide swing, and then you have a red ghost great weapon fighter hit from behind. It actually ends up being almost as fast as Sure Strike, a little bit slower. It debuffs their resistance, and it just does build your unstoppable faster. So, you know, that's pretty cool to get it just as fast as you can. So even if you're hitting single target attacks, if you don't have your unstoppable yet, that's one you're using. Your Sure Strike is basically for your unstoppable, but you know, as you get to feel your great weapon fighter better, I'm not going to need to tell you how to do your rotation for your DPS attacks. Like, you're going to it's going to be a feeling for you. You're going to know when to throw your blades. Battle Fury is one that you can switch out. Now, if you have, say, a Guardian fighter in the room with you, they can mark everything, and their marks do the same as your mark. So your Daring Shout at that point is only giving you the shield. Maybe it's a good thing, maybe you need it, but if you don't, you can swap out for Battle Fury. I don't tend to do this just because I don't remember, and then when I do it, I keep on thinking that I'm using Daring Shout, so kind of messes up. But it fills your sprint completely. It does a damage increase for your at-wills. It's pretty good. Now, Indomitable Battle Strike, that's your big hitter. That one's going to do as much as basically as Crescendo, which is your daily single target attack. Indomitable Battle Strike's where you just slam the ground. Now, when you kill a foe with Indomitable Battle Strike, it marks the surrounding enemies, which is also good. So that's another way to mark targets if you feel like you want to use Battle Fury. You know, that's a personal preference. I like to be able to mark targets at will, basically, by pushing my Y and be able to get it. You know, when you're getting one-shotted, you're building with your negation enchantment. It's nice to be able to put on that extra damage resistance by pushing an encounter. Also, Crescendo is another single target attack for dailies. Now, this is good to use after you're at full, you know, power up with your attacks. Your attacks are going all the way. You're attacking a boss. You hit Crescendo. You save your Indomitable Battle Strike. You hit Crescendo. You go through the motions, and then boom, after that you hit with your Indomitable Battle Strike right at the end of your full unstoppable finishing. So Hidden Daggers right here, when you have them to rank 4, you have 40% damage increase. So your melee damage is increased by 40%. So you get this stacked 3 times, and you throw 1, a timer comes over the other 2, and it counts back to like 10, I think, seconds, somewhere around there. So you don't want to use them all at once. Now, when you're a higher level, they do decent area damage, especially when you get your armor pen up, which you want to get up to around 5,500. But now for your Hidden Daggers, you get a 40% damage increase. Now, the Wrathful Determination, that right there is the one that some people use instead of Weapon Master Strike. I just personally I didn't see the results when I used it. You know, I might come back and say, hey guys, this is better. You know, if I find something better, I will let you guys know, because I just want to help. You know, I started the game, didn't know much. It was tough, you know. So these are our powers because of being a great weapon fighter in Dragonborn. You have your sprint. You get increased incoming healing. This is for lifesteal from clerics. That's from being Dragonborn. That's pretty good. It also gives you a power and critical chance increased by 3% for being Dragonborn. I'm not sure if that's 3% on top of your stats you're able to get, but it's 3% more. So a lot of people do choose it. I choose it. Half orc, you get a 5% crit severity. So there are times I feel like moving to half orc because, well, 5% crit severity, it's really hard to get. So if you want to use half orc, you know, be my guest, that's great. If you want to use human, you're going to have 3 extra feat points. And I will show you these in here. Now just follow the ones I'm showing you. They're all the ones you need to use. If you need to, you can pause them as we go. You know, your encounters deal 6% more damage. Now, these aren't ones I found myself. These go to I think it's Leonol's, and many other great weapon fighters have figured this out. You know, defense grants you power equal, or you get 20% power equal to your defense, blah, blah, blah. Crit severity, this one's big, 3, all the way. Now, if you're human, this next one is critical chance. I have 2 out of 3. Now, if you're human, 3 out of 3. And then also right here, you can put 2 more in there. And because if you're human, you only get 2 plus strength, but you also get 3 additional heroic feats, so that's good. Now, these ones increase your outwill, and well, that's great. You use it a lot. So we're going to go down the destroyer path. Now when I started, I was so worried about having not enough defense, I went down the Sentinel Paragon. Now it was awesome to get through my leveling up, but now this decreases, I think, damage resistance to critical strikes. Anyway, so I was so worried about defense that I just went down the Sentinel Paragon, made a tank. It didn't work. It was fun, but you know, it just didn't work for high DPS. Now in this first one in Sentinel, you can choose either one. I want the chance to deflect. This gives you better heal when unstoppable. This is what you're going for though. You got to go down Sentinel to get your marked targets. 15% damage increase. We only go that far though. So I made a tank out of a great weapon fighter. I had fun doing it. I went through the game solo with it, but when I got to 70, I was like, you know, I can't hold up in dungeons trying to high DPS, so I had to change, and I went and got this build, basically these feats, which are just the common feats used throughout the, you know, great weapon fighter community. The Leah Knowles build is very popular, and that's kind of my point on your race in general. I choose Dragonborn. Now everybody says you have to be half orc. Well, but then everybody also says Leah Knowles is the best build out there, and she's a human, so it's kind of self-defeating in itself, because, you know, it's in the end, like, what you want to look at is probably the best thing. You do get special bonuses from different things, but they all have their, you know, increased advantages. Now here's increasing your indomitable battle strike, and right now, like I said, I'm not walking through them perfectly. Just because it's just what you have to use. So if you want to, you know, vary any of these, if you want to change them, you know, don't be upset when you don't get the high DPS results that you want, because this is what has been used. This is the theory build that works. Now, this right here at the end this is what's great, because as you're attacking, you now gain unstoppable for attacking. Before it was just you were gaining it, you could lose it. Now this is just constantly you're gaining unstoppable. So this is why your weapon master strike when you're attacking works. Now I'm not going to go through all the boons completely, because, well, I don't have them all, but the thing is that, you know, you always want to go for attack over defense. I have people always asking me, you know, can I stack defense over attack? Well, no, because in the end, if you're trying to do high DPS dungeon runs, you have to do it this way. And if you do vary some of your, say, boons, I don't think it's going to make a huge deal unless you do like the last one in the run. If you change like this one right here, crit over power would have been fine. This first one, I chose power. If I had to choose right now, I'd probably choose crit, but you know, it doesn't matter. It's 250, but it's good to have either one. The rest you basically want to do as I've done here. I can bring a full boons video, and I will. If you have an individual question like, hey, should I use this one or this one, just ask in the comments. You know, it's just, it is so time consuming to get all of these boons. If you've done the campaigns at all, you will understand what I'm saying. In fact, on top of that, when you're building a guild, all of the currency for these campaigns, you need to build your guild. So for me, building the YouTube channel to help people out, building the guild to get a good playing environment for people who are sick of the hatred and the level hating and the, you know, I call them level snobs and item snobs. You know, to create a good environment away from that, you have to create your own area, and I've done that with Castle Haldor, and a lot of people seem to enjoy it. But in building that, I have had to stray from my boons quite a bit. I think the benefits were very good for me, but like here, Baphomet Smite, that's one I'm going to point out. It's really good. It procs like a sudden ring, and it gives you critical. And so like I said, the boons, the ones I've used are the ones you need. Now here's your companions. This is the Bonding Runestone I was talking about. I used to use the Augment Companion, the Ion Stone, like mine was Crown of Thorns, I called it. And it just circled around your head, and those stats were constantly put straight from your companion to your stats. So anytime you checked your stats, you didn't need to do that attacking trick. You just had them. But now I have 3 greater Bonding Runestones, which give me, you know, 455, huge power bonus on top of that. But they also give me 50% of my overall stats. Now, after the update that just happened, they used to all come on individually. They used to just show up one, it'd be in your bar up top, and it would say 1 Bonding Runestone, then it'd have a 2 on it, then a 1, then a 3, then a 1. and just wasn't very consistent. Now they changed it so they all come on at the same time, so that's a huge thing, because now I know I'm getting 150% every time it's on, and it's always on. Now that the way they did it, I don't know if they're going to nerf it a little bit, but it is always on. Now here's a little way to store some things. Now you do have to pay gold to get it off, but if you just need room in your bags, you can put your rune stones on your other companions, because you don't need to have them. You're looking at the active bonus. That one's giving me the dancing blades. It's giving me 3% crit severity bonus. Higher at purple, you know, not higher at orange, but you know, and that one gives me 300 regeneration. I also use the Young Yeti. I was just kind of playing around with having a little bit of regen with my lifesteal. But the Young Yeti, you have a 10% chance to get a Bloodthirsty for you or your companion, 5% increased damage. It's pretty good. It's just filling a slot until I get the Scourge Warlock pack. This one right here gives me 1% critical severity and 50% crit severity for my companion. Now this is how you upgrade them. At blue it does, you know, another I think 75 and 2%, so it's expensive to upgrade them, but you just got to get them going. Your Archons are good, gives you 50% at less than 50% hit points, you do, you know, so much damage. This one at under full health you do so much damage, so I chose that Striker Companion because it was the one that kind of fit the items I had. Like, you want the double slotted rings, you want the double slotted neck, so it was kind of the same items as my stone, so that's why I went with him. He was purple, it worked out. Now these are mount bonuses you get for your purple mounts. You get 2000 crit, 2000 lifesteal. I go with the 2000 lifesteal. I have or 2000 critical. I have lifesteal and defense also. This is your speeds. Once you get an 80% mount, 110% mount, you get to use them on every mount you have. You can ride any mount you want. So here's a big deal. This is why it's a big deal. Once you get your bonding runestones, you get your attacking companion instead of the ion stones and the goats and the augment companions, is you get to use Protector's Camaraderie, which isn't cheap to get. This one's 3,500 Zen in the Zen market. The Grizzly, Trained Grizzly underneath that is 2,000 Zen. Now I change Astral Diamonds into Zen, and that's how I do it, so you can farm AD and get it that way. The Protector's Friendship is a little bit cheaper, so what it does is when you're attacking, you have a chance to get 3.5% of your power and defense to yourself. So you have a chance to get 3% with Protector's Camaraderie, 0.5% with Protector's Friendship, and then 1%, I'm sorry, with Protector's Friendship. I have 2, so I have 1.2. They don't stack, they don't double, they just give a small increase once you start putting extras on. So it's good to have 3 or 4 Protector's Camaraderie and 1 Protector's Friendship just to get that extra large bonus, because, well, you're not getting that large of a bonus if you put on another Protector's Camaraderie. You're just getting the small addition. So it goes from 3% to 3.5%. So, you know, it's a large bonus. It stacks quite a few times, and it's getting me what stacks up to 4 times, give me 3.5 with 1.2, 4.7% of my power and defense go to me. And then it gives me that one, the Gladiator's Guile, gives me 15% increased speed and increased stamina gain under 75%. So when I'm at full stamina, I have 15% increased movement. That's awesome. You really feel that. You really see the difference. These are some of the enchantments for your utility slot, your Dragon Hordes. You have a chance of dropping refining stones, so paradots, things like that when you're killing enemies. I also use darks for utility because you get the movement. Now for your offense, I tend to put in crit, so your blues or crit and armor, or your savage. For defense right now, I'm using lifesteal because I've seen a huge increase in how good I can attack, and how fast my health regens, because when you're attacking, you get a huge life gain with your lifesteal, depending on how hard you're hitting. So Azures or lifesteal, so defense for lifesteal in your defensive slots. Critical power, my power stacks other ways. I don't really stack my power like you've seen. I get it through my companion, through other things. So, you know, any questions you guys got, leave in the comments, man. I'm trying to do the best I can to get the best info out. Hope you guys are enjoying it. Please subscribe, support the channel, press the like button. You know, thanks for watching, guys.